Today we're going through your questions that you posted in the community tab. So we're going to talk about WWE 2K, AEW, all kinds of different things. But let's start off with Carlos, who has a long question here, but he's talking about, do you think every company needs a dark character like The Undertaker or the late great Bray? Like Malachi Black we had. He goes on to say guys like Joe Gacy, Cross, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, asking, do you think we need more like that? I think so. I think it's about having a healthy balance. You don't want too much of the mystical stuff, right? If you had WWE, for example, and there's 10 different mythical type of characters, Undertaker style characters that can mess with the lights and the fog machines and everything, then it becomes a little too much and it becomes a little too silly. What I am interested to see is like Karrion Kross, who I'm a big fan of, see how his character evolves in 2024, because it sounds like based on the vignettes he's doing, there's something in the works. And I have confidence in Triple H and creative to hold a guy back like Kross in terms of story and character. If there's nothing there right now, bring him in when we have something to do and we can do something big. I like to see someone like Kross either lead a faction of dark, brooding, mythical type of characters, style of characters, like a Bray Wyatt, like a Wyatt family style, and see what they can do with that and put their own spin on it. AEW, I feel like it's just so much into pure, like just wrestling, just having matches. And I don't think Tony Khan really understands how to put together those types of characters. We have the House of Black and that's kind of it, but I don't think you need much more than that in AEW. WWE HD Highlight says, I don't want 2K to make WWE games in arcade style. Fair enough. I hate when players start moving like some Tekken character, which looks so weird to me. I want 2K to remove that stuff since 2K22. I can agree with this. I'm much more on the simulation side. I want 2K to do a better job of making that simulation experience because I still think it's got a lot of problems with it. And I think that with the controls that updated in 22, we saw in 23, you've got like your stamina bar, you got guys in the crouch position when they're going to do a grapple, stuff like that. The red glow screen that goes on when you get big moves, those things are more arcadey. And I'm kind of like, get rid of that, simplify it, make it more of a simulation style, lean into the simulation, go all the way with it. Don't do this halfway, but then give me like an arcade game. Give me a WWE All-Stars 2, for example. I want that. I don't need Battlegrounds 2, which was like rumored to be in development at one point, but I like to have an alternative to a WWE game. I enjoy my 2K games, but yeah, I want like the simulation on one side. Give me something else. Give me an alternative within WWE that I can just really easily pick up and play. Kind of like an All-Stars 2 or a new modern twist of Battlegrounds, but not so crazy. Isaiah Hill has a question, says, is college for everyone? Just wondering. That's a deep question there, my friend. Depends on you. Depends on the individual circumstances. There's a lot within that to just say, is college for everyone? Yes or no. That's not really that simple. I'm in Canada, so I went to university, and I've also done postgraduate college stuff and certificates and lots of education stuff. It depends. It depends on what you're going for. You got a specific field that requires, post-secondary education, then you need those things. You need credentials. You need that as kind of even a fail-safe. Some people will say that you need it as a backup for whatever the thing you want to do. It really depends. I'd always be cautious nowadays, especially with how much school costs in general. I would want to make sure that whatever you're doing, that you're going to be financially okay, that you come out of it and you're not $100 grand in the hole and you got a nice piece of paper, but you got no way to apply it. So I think it's try to figure out what you like, but don't go so far into debt that you never get out of it. That's the main thing to look at and say, what's going to give you a good opportunity, whether it's college or just go straight into trades or do whatever, or just go to work. It's whatever is going to work best for you and your family. Swaggy Bro or Mike says, does AEW Fight Forever have a chance of a comeback? I'd say yes. I mean, I talked to other people in the community about this. Fight Forever has nowhere to go but up. It can only get better, right? And what I mean is, like, I don't want to crap on the game entirely, but it's not what I was hoping it would be. And I think for a lot of players, it's like that. Some people enjoy it and that's great. For me, it's not my cup of tea because I don't feel it's enough value in there when you just keep shoveling more characters and there's no fixes and updates to the core game. However, in 2024, they really want to get behind this and give it the longevity and not just pull the plug and, you know, push out all of the next season 3-4 rounds of DLC and it just having be characters, I think that it does have a chance if they put the time and resources and they feel it's worth it to give players more, to introduce more match types and a mode. I think one of the biggest things Fight Forever would need for me to come back in is going to be a GM mode, a universe mode style mode within the game itself. I don't need a towers mode. I don't need Stadium Stampede. I don't need those things. I need more core match types to flush out the experience, more options in the options menu, fix up the gameplay. And I need a mode that I can get back in there and feel like, oh, I can manage AEW, I can manage my roster, do trades, do all the universe modes type of stuff. That's a huge undertaking and it's probably not under the umbrella and what they're looking to do, but I think it needs more. And I don't think that the game and franchise of like AEW games is gonna stop. I think that it's a learning experience. It's an expensive one, but I think ultimately they look at this and say, okay, this worked, this didn't. They have mobile games, those do however they do. You got a console game experience, platform like that, and it really didn't seem to work out. We don't know the financials of it realistically, but for all intents and purposes, it didn't make the money back that they invested in. So they got to retool and figure out, okay, how are we going to do something else within video games to make it profitable and make it successful? I don't think it's the last we see of it. I just think that they need to really look at what their plan is for the next 24, 36 months and try to come out with something big. Kazoo Has Gloves says, what's your favorite match type and why? Favorite match type? I like a ladder match. I'm always good with a ladder match just because of how crazy it can be, especially if it's for the titles or like a Money in the Bank is a lot of fun. I like a gauntlet match when there's stakes involved. If they just do like a random gauntlet on Raw, I'm kind of like, okay, it's kind of fun, but I'm more invested in those if, you know, there's a good story in there. Things like Hell in a Cell and even steel cage matches, I feel like are just really watered down. I'm glad Triple H under WWE doesn't do them as much. Even like something like War Games, I'm like, it's fun, but it's not something that I'm glued to see what they're gonna do. And I would love Hell in a Cell as being my pick for favorite match type, but again, overdone, and it's not extreme in WWE anymore. It doesn't feel like it did in the late 90s and 2000s where guys were getting a bloody mess and you couldn't take your eyes off of it to see what would happen. They don't do it that way anymore. So there's no real specific match type that I'm like, oh, this is kind of my favorite thing to ever watch. Gauntlet matches, ladder matches are still fun to see. I think they need to do like a more traditional TLC again, but you don't want guys to get too hurt either. D'Angelo says, what's your favorite pay-per-view in 2023? If I take WrestleMania off the table, I'm gonna say Backlash. I think Backlash was really special for a lot of reasons. And I think it really comes down to the fact that they were in Puerto Rico and that crowd made it feel like Attitude Era feel of just the crowd is into everything. It felt like ECW. It just felt like this really, really cool moment in time. And it also helped WWE, I think, springboard off this year with doing these premium live events outside of the US and seeing how successful they are. So we continue to see more and more of these throughout the year and going into 24. But Backlash to me stands out because Bad Bunny's match with Damian Priest was fun. His entrance was incredible because of the crowd. So much of this was the crowd. It wasn't a crazy pay-per-view. Like we had Cody versus Brock. You had the Bloodline in there defeating Owens, Zayn, and Matt Riddle. Bianca Belair, Io Sky was a great match. So like the matches weren't anything like out of this world. Seth versus Omos was really good. It was the crowd and the atmosphere that made it so much fun to watch. The other one I would say is maybe the Royal Rumble, because at the last year's Royal Rumble, that's where we had Sami Zayn turn on Roman Reigns. I'd probably say that as well. Cody winning was really fun at the Royal Rumble that last year. You had Bray versus LA Knight in a Mountain Dew match. And yeah, the story of the Bloodline was peak at that moment. So Royal Rumble as well. Huge stadium. The moment of Sami hitting Roman with the chair, it just was like this unleashing force of the crowd. I loved it. Mason is the best says, who is your favorite / least female wrestler and why? Right now, if I look at, I got a couple of names that I really like watching. I'd say Rhea is great. I wish she was in better feuds, like longer term feuds, because we don't really get that from her. It's been throughout the year. She's on top, but she's doing like squash matches, like left and right. She's not in anything big, which is where I think Becky comes in and we get Becky versus Rhea at WrestleMania. But Rhea's been great. Outside of WWE, in AEW, Athena is great in Ring of Honor. I think Julia Hart is a huge standout. Sky Blue has been doing way better work too. There are a couple of names there that I really do enjoy. Chelsea Green is another one that I love. I just love her character work since she came into WWE again. And to see what she's gonna do in 24, I think Chelsea Green is somebody totally could win Money in the Bank. It'd be a lot of fun. For least favorite, it's not so much of like, I don't like this person. I think probably boils down to just like how they're booked. Nia Jax, I'm not a big fan of in general. I don't find her mic work overly impressive ever from her previous runs to now. I think they could improve her character to make her more like a dominant, like vicious heel of like a Mark Henry type. That's what I would like to see from Nia Jax, and I don't feel like she is that. I just find the matches a little boring. Edge says, why did 2K never brought back special guest referee? It's a good question. We haven't had special guest referee in a few years now. I think it's a lot of them retooling the engine and over time, and they yank stuff out. I remember back in, I think 2K15, that's where John Cena was on the cover. That game was, I remember it being so stripped down of its core features and match types that I felt it was missing so much. And since then, it's been this game of build up more and more and more from features and match types and so on. I think it's also a cycle thing. They take it out. They need to be able to put it into the modern engine. I don't know why they would take these things out when they worked perfectly fine before, like casket matches, Inferno matches. I don't know why they just don't come back, other than they don't see the need to invest the time and effort to create those again. I'm not a developer, so I don't know how hard or easy it is to put these match types back in when they've been in there for years before. It seems like it's the giant special guest referees, like the most requested thing for match types that fans want. I think 2K hears that. I think they also just look at what the priorities are of like, okay, they wanted more games put into the game, so they focused on developing that for a couple of years and made that the big shiny thing they wanted to show off in the game and advertise it and market that. I think in 24, referee, special guest referee comes back, and I think it, along with maybe a couple other match types, are going to be the big focal points and selling points of the game that they're going to really push. I don't know why they take it out though. It just seems like an odd move. Orton World says, will Randy Orton win the Royal Rumble? No, it'd be cool if he did. I don't think so. I think it's either Punk or Cody to win. Orton winning though would be great, and I don't think anybody would be mad at it. But Orton winning is like, what? He's gonna go and fight Bloodline? He's gonna fight Roman? That'd be great, but it's still Cody to do it. They could do another thing though. You could have Randy win the Royal Rumble, and Cody gets eliminated, and Cody does the HBK thing where he's got to figure out his way to get to Roman Reigns. He wants to finish the story, so you end up having Cody get himself into Elimination Chamber, winning the chamber match, and gets into the triple threat, I don't know, at WrestleMania. Or him and Orton are the last two, and they do double elimination, so they then make it a triple threat of Orton, Cody, and Roman. That would be kind of cool, because they can, all three of them can work, have good storytelling between all three of them. You can really mix it up, especially if Roman's not there every week. You can really play on Cody and Randy's history. So that'd be a lot of fun. I would like to see Randy win the Royal Rumble one more time before he retires, if he's ever going to retire. Doesn't sound like he will. Rezus SBM says, do you think entrance motions should return to the Royal Rumble in 2K24? I think what you mean is like having the camera turn to the entrances. So like we get entrance motions for the Royal Rumble entries in 2K24. Absolutely. I don't like that it just slides in. And that's it. The Royal Rumble, the majority of the Royal Rumble is not like who gets eliminated, but it's who shows up. The countdown hits, and then who is it? We need more of that. You need like in-game, in-match moment reaction of like, you have Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble match in 2K. You need him turning and reacting when the clock hits and it's, I don't know, Sheamus, or it's Randy Orton that shows up, or CM Punk shows up. I don't know why I said Sheamus, but it's CM Punk that shows up in the Royal Rumble, and they give you like a surprise reaction. We get it where it's like the final 4, the final 2, and they do a little bit of a sequence there. They need to do that with the Rumble, or here's a thought. Pick out all 30 people that are going to be in the Rumble, but then let us put like a star next to 5 different entrances. So that we want to be able to have those entries be the ones that get showcased. So it's like they're going to be the surprise. So it's CM Punk and AJ Styles and Cody and whoever, and a legend. Lex Luger shows up for some reason, and you get the surprise moment there. So they could do something like that. Would be really, really fun. But for just the entrances for the Royal Rumble matches, yeah, they need to do something. That's where like with the Casino Battle Royale and AEW Fight Forever, I actually like that they did the little picture-in-picture thing, because you could see who's coming, and then they run down. I miss that in the old days too with the hard cam, or the other camera. I don't like the hard cam. I want them to switch the camera up. Jacob Graham says, why did 2K never bring back the I Quit match type? Again, Jacob, I think it's like special guest referee. They pull things out and then they're gonna give them back to you and act like they're brand new. I don't know why they take these things out. It is bizarre that I Quit match is not there, but all the tools seem to be to like just make the match. It's like a submission match. So I don't know why you can't just do the microphone gimmick and have the I Quit match. It's bizarre why they take them out. I don't know. Kadar, great channel member, by the way, great supporter of over here at Assemble. What's the biggest missed opportunity in wrestling history? I think Sting Undertaker is one of those. If we're talking, I don't know, if we're talking about like what ifs type of thing, it just depends what people like. I don't know, like Goldberg versus Austin in their prime, Sting versus Undertaker in the prime, in the top of the Attitude Era. Those things. Probably, I think the Invasion, missed opportunities because it was such a giant scale. I think the Invasion was probably one of the biggest missed opportunities, where you could have had 5 years of stories coming out of that, and you didn't. You got maybe a year, and you didn't get the contract. And like, if the contracts for WCW wrestlers like NWO and Goldberg and Flair and all these guys, the giant names, if all their contracts were like they had to wrestle and not just sit at home and get paid, and if WWE wanted to enact those contracts and utilize them, if we lived in that alternate universe, then I would say the Invasion is the missed opportunity, because if you had those names to come in, you could have gotten all of those dream matches, and you could have set them up. You could have had Taker Sting built for 2 years. You could get the Rock Hogan match. You could have got the Austin Hogan match. Multiple matches. You could have got DX versus NWO. You could have done a lot with those giant names, where they eventually came into WWE, but it wasn't at the peak moment when you could have done it. So Invasion angle, that was the big one. Frederick FTW says, do you agree that Punk is going to win the Rumble and Cody will end up facing Roman's some other way? I think is what you meant. For example, the Elimination Chamber. Yes, Fred, that's what I think is going to happen. I think Cody winning the Rumble is too clean, too predictable. And I don't think they want to do that. I don't think Triple H wants to do that from a creative perspective. I think that they want to keep people guessing. You want people to enjoy the ride going to WrestleMania. The whole story arc needs to be fun and engaging and question, can he do it? If Cody just shows up, enters as number 1, it's a great story of him going all the way to the end and winning. But at the end, it's kind of like, okay, Cody won. And he goes to WrestleMania. Oh, he's going to beat Roman. Okay, you kind of figured it out. It's all over. Because Punk came in late, last minute, is shaking things up from a creative side where they got to kind of pivot. I think it's a great thing if Punk wins the Royal Rumble, because it does shake up their creative plans, where it may have just been that, okay, we're just going to have Cody win the thing. If Punk wins, then you get Punk to go after Seth, and that's presumably for the world title, which could then extend beyond WrestleMania, and they could have a multi-month feud, goes to Money in the Bank or something. You got Priest with the briefcase too, so that's interesting. There's more combinations there. And then you could have Cody lose and do what I think I said earlier, where it was like Shawn Michaels got eliminated from the Rumble and needed to face Undertaker, wanted to. Cody could do the same thing. Be shocked and blown away that he lost, because he kind of figured he was going to win the Rumble, and then he doesn't. So he's got to figure out a way, how do I get to Roman Reigns? How do I finish my story? And he does some stuff to be able to figure out how he's going to get over, traded, whatever, SmackDown, or just get in a Raw SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, and then he gets to win there. Something like that, where Cody can win and go through all the odds. You could do also like a gauntlet thing, gauntlet series matches, like they did with Kofi, and we got Kofi Mania. Kofi went through all of those gauntlet matches, and it built him up instantly into a main event. We could have that again, and you could do something like that with Cody. Tom Sauce says, if Roman Reigns came to your house for Christmas dinner, sweet, who would sit at the head of the dinner table? It's Roman Reigns. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing for you, Tom Sauce. Which is the head of the table? There's two ends to the table, my friend. We got a long dining table. There's one end and there's the other. Roman can sit on one end. I could sit on the other. Don't know who's at the head of the table, do we? It's Roman. It's not me. I'd offer a eggnog. B-Man the Champ says, what created superstar is your favorite of all time? I don't know, but I will say that you have a ton of community creators out there that do great work. So like Don, Status, iRoll's Finest, the WCW Project team is great. Who else? Woody the G, Marty M, they're awesome. Lee Valentine, Sky Factor movesets, 2SY, I believe as well. There's Too Sweet Shit. There's so many like across, and I'm leaving people out, but I love all of their creations. I'll put it that way. There's not one where I'm like, this is the best. Oh, Azortheus too. Azortheus. 500 Jeff Hardys later, but he's wonderful. Pen and the Sword 84 says, what if EA Sports began developing WWE games? Oh no. Would EA incorporate mechanics from Def Jam Vendetta, Fight for New York series? No, I don't think so. If EA Sports did it, you would get a carbon copy probably of Madden, or maybe a little bit more on the UFC side, but I think you would get MUT. I think you would get loot boxes out your butt. I think it would be stripped down, especially if EA took on 2K25. For example, and they made it WWE Sports WWE Live, and it's the it would be 2K25. I think that you would get like this very bare bones game where stuff is even more loot box microtransact. I don't like that. I don't think it would be what you would want, like a Def Jam Vendetta. I don't think it would be a Def Jam game as much as we would want it. AFF Action Figure Fighting says, favorite match of 2023. Ooh, that's hard. I like Drew, Sheamus, and Gunther at WrestleMania. I thought was incredible. Charlotte and Rhea at WrestleMania was amazing. Danielson and Ricky Starks, the strap match, that was hardcore. I love that. Swerve and Hangman go like just destroying each other one-on-one. Like that was nasty. So I love that match. That Swerve and Hangman might be my match of the year, just because I was like, they just kept taking it up a notch higher and higher and higher. Not a technical match by any means, but it was gruesome. So that's your thing. I like that match too. What's Good Mo says, if you could fix one thing in any WWE game, what would it be? Probably, so I don't have a lot of problems with the gameplay mechanics of it, like in terms of controls or anything like that. I would probably say the universe mode, the one mode to get you hooked to come back all the time, because that I would want to be like having such depth that I would want to go in there all the time, constantly for a full year until the next game comes out, because it's annualized. I would want that to be top tier, so that I wanted to come in all the time, that they added promos and cutscenes and they made it all customized for players to be able to do way more. Have everything in there, like the promo editor, things like that. So if I could fix anything, it would be like, I'm gonna mold GM mode and universe mode into one WWE live mode, and it's going to have all of the features that we're looking for in terms of access to the roster, full customization sandbox, draft, managing contracts, dealing with the general managers. You're getting cutscenes. You can do the free mode still, where you're going to be able to get more cutscenes. I would have promos put in there, and I would have the ability to do story designer within that, custom text, and then be able to like upload my universe online and download other people's universes or live series. That's what I would do. I'd make one mega mode. Never happened. Thank you everybody who put questions into the community tab. I like doing stuff like this because we get to cover a lot of different subjects. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope you guys have a great one. We got more content coming on the channel, and if you guys can, subscribe to the channel and drop a like on the video. That means a lot. Thank you so much. See ya.